Notice how shattered and rotted the inside of this log tree, so recently cut up because it fell probably within weeks of now across the trail. But notice, even on that standing large stump, how much is rotted on the inside. You have to wonder how much was actually alive before it fell over. And you may notice as I pan towards the water from the mountain to the right, how the trees either lean or in many instances seem almost to bend towards the water, as there's some large force during their early formative years that comes rushing down from the mountain to the shore, perhaps a wind. In some places the trees stand stately, tall, like we'd expect in many forests of the north. And yet in others, they're almost whimsical, if not tortured. While the forests here are lush with green, ranging from the light greens to the very dark greens, this purple leafed plant stands out. My guess is that it's dead, perhaps recently died. Here another mix of the stately and the whimsical. A variation on the theme. And look closely at this moss or lichen, how big its leaves are. Okay, here is some of the white fungi, I suspect it is, that tears down some of these trees, or in fact it may be just a kind that lives on the material that's in the soil as there. Imagine the eons of time and weather that these trees have experienced. This one having been here so long, laying over that one, it's actually curving down. Here apparently a kind of a boggy, swampy little microsystem, if you will, with plants that almost, I guess, around the world identify themselves in such an ecological system. And here we'll take a little bit closer look at these plants. Notice the broad leaves, or leaves, almost like they're designed to funnel water down towards something on the stalk. These flowers seem not quite as white as we would expect, rather somewhat grayed out and off-white. Maybe they're at a later stage in their life. Ergo the drab yellow in the center. And just a prolonged look at some of the algae and lichens that grow on these trees and the mosses, of which I know nothing. But unlike the very tiny and very short, thin lichens found on the rocks in Jackson Hole area, some of these are almost exuberant in their large leafiness. And they're just a little tuft of what we might call grandfather's beard there in the center. It occurred to me that these roots are so widespread on the surface and therefore underneath in this inside the thin layer of soil that I wonder if they're not all intertwined from tree to tree, so that when one big tree falls over, perhaps it weakens the entire structure. Here another source of color. Again, leaves that are dying probably. I didn't know that these things molted, if you will, but apparently they do. There it is. God dang it. What a magnificent bird. There are at least 4. Here are either females or 2 young. And they're playing tag with each other on the tree. I think the parents are trying to teach the young how to survive, how to get at those bugs. Climbing up through these rocks, the scenes get even more interesting, more Hobbit or Lord of the Rings like. What lives in that cave? This is a fun hike because the topography is so fascinating. Look how that tree's all rotted out inside. Trees growing up between and dying between these huge rocks that have fallen eons ago, I'm sure. Fun jumble this is. Too much. And I think it must be the easiest way, or they'd have chosen a different trail. Just walked around that headland, so that now we can look a little further up into this bay. I suspect the trail keeps going, at least to the Chilean border. So somewhere up here along the side of the lake we'll run into the border, so it may or may not be as far up as I thought. I'm guessing that this curious structure represents the boundary line between Chile and Argentina, for which crossing means immediate death. Okay, this signals the deadly line. Now over the line into Chile, risking imminent death in my normal way. And here is one other person, or something at least, that took the same risk and suffered for it.